starting to get good at this. Hey everyone. Prefacing an episode, I had to do this one. I should have been doing everyone, but anyway. I had Odysseus in for a chat in regards to I don't know. In regards to dealing with someone with substance abuse and what the legal system, in this instance anyway, entailed for a guy stuck between a rock and a shit place. I know it's pretty vague, but it sort of just gets right into it. So I can't thank him enough for coming in. Yeah, have a listen.
There are improvement works ahead, so this train will terminate at the next station.
Fake news, folks. Fake news.
Are you Muslim?
Do I cup the balls or something?
Stallone had that. I can't remember. My mate told me about it years ago. He said he was on a film set or something. Can't remember which one. And he told they were talking about fluffers and like hangers on and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And he basically it was either a casting couch situation. I don't want to misquote the story, but his instructions were stop the balls or work the shaft. Stallone at his peak.
At his peak, yeah.
Unit, man. But you would have seen that through the 80s and late 70s. When did Rocky 1 come out?
Ooh, 79 or something, 70, 78, 70, yeah, a couple.
Did you see it at the cinemas?
No, I didn't see it at the cinemas. I saw it in the 80s when it came out on TV.
Let me ask you a question. What was Rocky Fever like? For, like having lived it?
The best.
Yeah?
You go to the cinema. Like, I saw the other Rockies in the cinema. I saw Sylvester Stallone, Rambo's all in the cinema.
What, First Blood?
First Blood. No, not First Blood, but Rambo 2 and all the rest of them.
Yeah.
Right? I just happened to grow up when that you had action stars. Like, we're talking about action stars. We're talking about real action stars. People that blow themselves up, do their own stunts. No, like him, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, those people. Yeah. They're the two greatest draws in the box office,
It's weird when you see that meme that goes around now, and it says action stars from the 80s and 90s, and it had a picture of Stallone, Arnie, Dolph Lundgren, I think Bruce Willis, and Van Damme, and I can't remember. There was one other one, maybe Chuck Norris. I can't remember
Chuck
who.
Norris, yeah, Chuck Norris.
And then
the 70s and
action
and
stars
80s,
from the noughties to the 20s, 2020s, and it was like Robert Downey Jr., Tobey Maguire, all these guys that look like page boys and accountants.
That's it, yeah, Red Boys.
Yeah.
No, he was like living through that whole hysteria and the fandom, going to the cinemas and having the whole cinema erupt when Rocky, wins over Drago. Like, the whole crowd's jumped up. The crowd going wild. Like, you thought you were an actual boxing match.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting into it.
It's crazy when you watch those matches now, how unrealistic they are.
Yeah,
like
totally.
They're throwing haymakers from round 1 to round 12.
Yeah.
And no one gets knocked out until the 12th round. It's like every match.
I'll tell you something now. If you're throwing that many haymakers, mate, you'll be gassed out.
Third round.
Third round. It's second round.
Because they're heavyweights as well.
Yeah, they're heavyweights. Yeah. Second round, you're gone. Forget it.
I'm just trying to remember. The first one is when he loses, but it's a split decision or whatever.
Yeah,
the second one is when he wins just at the count.
Yeah.
I've only seen the second one maybe twice.
Second one's good. It's good.
I like Apollo Creed just because of his attitude and his arrogance.
Oh, yeah. He a cross between a Muhammad Ali and...
yeah, exactly. But the second one, I don't know that well. The third one with Mr. T, I know pretty well. And then everyone knows...
Clubber Lang.
He was playing himself, essentially.
Pretty much.
With his Ali Sithis and his training
He was in his heyday. Like, he was in the A-team at that time. Everyone used to watch the A-team.
The A-team was before my time.
Oh, I used to watch the A-team as well.
What were they? Just a unit?
Just a ragtag unit who, went underground because half of them, well, they're all wanted by the military.
Really?
They're all going to get
I don't know
court-martialed.
the story of the 18.
They're all going to get court-martialed, so they all went underground, for various reasons. And so the whole premise is that the military, the government's chasing after them, and then they're like, not Robin Hoods, but, they do good things for people, so,
Did they have a boss, or was it it 4 of them?
Yeah, there was
A.B. Baraka.
Yeah.
George Papard played,
Yeah.
what was his name? I can't remember his name. Face, yeah.
Yeah.
Who else was it?
There was 2 others, the Colonel and the Mad Flyman, the guy that flies choppers and planes and whatever. The Colonel was like, he was like the brains behind everything. And always at the end of the show, it's a 30-minute show, whatever it was, or an hour or something. And then the last 15 minutes, they're always making something out of, I don't know, toothpicks and a pencil or
MacGyver's,
something.
basically.
Yeah, basically a MacGyver. And they take on, the whole South American drug cartel and bring them down in the final 5 minutes of the show. So, it was a feel-good show. It's basically for kids and teenagers. So,
18 was for kids.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, for kids.
Wasn't it violent?
Not really. It was stylistic. Oh, look, it was the 80s, man. Come on, man.
I love how that's an excuse. That was the 80s.
Yeah, it was. Everyone
You
watched
just
it.
write everything off because it was the 80s.
Mate, everyone watched it. Are you kidding me, man? Like, seriously, the way we grew up, it'd be considered as domestic violence these days. We used to build ramps and jump off the ramps, man. And you have adults with a cigarette looking at you doing the whole shit.
I was going to say,
no one's going to say shit.
all those memes about the 80s, how like you're at a kid's birthday and there's a birthday cake and someone with a cigarro just standing over it.
Yeah.
That was us. I remember.
Mate, that was us.
Where was I? I was out last night and I remember saying to someone, "Do you remember when you could smoke in nightclubs?" I remember being vivid. I remember being 18 years old, coming home from a club at 3 a.m. and having a shower because if I got into bed, you'd wake up and the bed was like an ashtray.
Yep, and your hair, your clothes, everything just smelled like smoke.
You'd wash your head, be black just from ash. They were like compression sessions, like submarines.
Yeah. And I remember also going to the cinemas. People used to smoke in the cinemas. You see, the smoke
Clouds.
clouds. Through the screen, you're trying to figure out what's going on.
You had to say just I was drinking.
You're watching ET, and you go, "What the hell's going on?" You can't see through the smoke.
That's a question. What was the first movie you saw in the movies? At the cinemas? I know mine. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 1.
Herbie the Love Bug.
Piss off. Are you serious?
Serious, man. Herbie the Love Bug.
What was that even about? Was that a racer movie?
Yeah, it's a Volkswagen, man.
Yeah, but it's just, there's nothing to do with, like it wasn't an anthropomorphic,
No, well, let's put it this way. It was the original Transformers, man.
what was it?
It was a
Volks.
Volkswagen
I remember it was a
that had a personality and,
As in what, he talked?
Not really, but just like a miming sort of, he used to do shit like,
I never watched Herbie the Love Bug. That's why I just remember it as being
iconic sort of
Yeah.
out there. Yeah, look, it was just like, it didn't actually, it didn't talk per se, but it did things like, it did things that helped the owner. The owner's is a racing, car driver / mechanic trying to keep him on the road, trying to win game, win the races and stuff. So I remember that. Like it was a long time ago. I mean, I remember the movie barely.
the first,
There's a love interest as well, and they can't believe that Herbie's alive, but the owner knows he's alive, and all that sort of stuff. So there's the bad guys, of course, who want to win the race.
Is it worth going back to watch? No, I'm just saying. What year was that? Herbie the Love Bug.
It was in the 70s, man.
Early 70s?
Yeah. Mid. Like mid.
Where did you see it? Where did you actually see Herbie the
It was
Love
at
Bug?
the big cinema that looks like some sort of the cinema. It's on the corner as you go into the city. Mm-hmm. It was on the corner, had statues and stuff in there. What was it?
Not the Astor?
Not the Astor.
That's in Paran.
That's in Paran. It was in the city.
Oh, okay.
As right on the corner, like as you're going in from Fitzroy Gardens, so like right on the corner there.
And there's a theatre there now as well, I think, opposite it.
Yeah.
Greater Union or some shit.
Yeah, and you walk in there and it was like a palace, some Saudi Arabian, like had minarets and had like, the
minarets in the theatre.
In the theatre, man. This thing is like old school, like 1920s and 30s, old school.
Was it Greater Union? I think it was Greater Union. I think I watched Lord of the Rings there and The Ring.
Maybe. I don't know.
Like you're talking about like exhibition, like past, like
Yeah, that's the
before
one.
Chinatown, like all the way on the end.
Yeah, right on the end of the corner. Yeah, before the yeah.
Bravo! You took a trip into the city to watch Herbie
Yeah,
Love Bug.
yeah. Well, and look, I had a wonderful neighbour, and he took us under our wing because we were struggling at growing up, but we were happy.
Were you always from the southeast?
Originally from Richmond.
Yeah. Is that why you're a Tiger supporter?
Of course, man. You can't go past it.
Do you want to? Did you actually watch the game on Thursday?
Look, I watched the first quarter, and then when I started seeing that crap, I thought, oh man, it was like
Best game ever.
Yeah, look, for you guys, it was great, but the rules, I don't know what's going on.
The 50 meters that they kept copying out.
Yeah,
It's all disciplinary.
Over the man, whatever.
It's all disciplinary. Umpires aren't tolerating any back talk or any arguments, stepping over the lines. Or that sort of shit.
We'll see.
Well, it depends on who's
We'll see
playing.
whether they're consistent.
I never thought we'd ever get free kicks like that.
Yeah, we'll see whether they're
Never
consistent,
happens.
whether it continues throughout the year, or they'll just, we'll just ease off a bit.
Yeah. Well, it depends. If it's Essendon and Geelong, then it's a different story.
I suppose.
Oh, wait, sorry, I cut you off. So you're from Richmond.
Yeah, moved in late 70s. We moved to back then was Burwood, which now is Glen Iris. So
Burwood is Glen Iris.
yeah, Burwood. They've turned it into Glen Iris now.
Oh, as in the suburb stretched across from Burtlazing.
No, they've actually changed it now. Like half of Burwood doesn't exist now. Like half of it's Campbell. Now the other half's turned into Glen Iris. There is a small section left somewhere. I can't remember where they've tucked that away.
I'm pretty sure there is Burwood though. Like
There's
off
Burwood East.
Blackburn Road.
There's
and
Burwood East.
in between Blackburn Road and Springvale Road. That block, and then Burwood Highway. That's still Burwood though, isn't it?
Well, the locals call it Burwood, but it's officially Glen Iris. They've even changed the postcode.
I didn't know that.
We've adopted the postcode as well. So Glen Iris.
I had no idea.
Yeah, that happened about 12 years ago, maybe more, 15.
Okay, because most of my mates that grew up from there still call it Burwood.
We all do. I do.
I didn't know it was Glen Iris.
Yeah, now, officially, Glen Iris.
You know what that's like? That's like Oakley South. When I grew up, the bottom of Burke Road, Carroll Road, all that area was Clorinda. And then sometime in the mid-90s, towards 97 somewhere, they rezoned it, built all the double-story brick veneers, and they called it Oakley South.
There you go.
I said, Oakley South isn't here. Oakley South is up near past Centre Road, towards North and Warrigal.
Yeah.
Not down here, where the Clorinda drive-ins used to be. Do you remember bottom end of Burke Road, Old Dandy Road, in that back corner? Used to be the drive-ins.
Yeah.
We used to drive past as a kid, and you'd see the big screens.
The
or whatever.
screen, yeah.
Now it's all houses there.
Yeah, well, we had the Burwood drive-ins.
Burwood?
Yeah, the Burwood drive-ins.
Where were they?
They're where there's an industrial park is now. They've used to be a Telstra place, and now it's changed.
On Burwood Highway?
Yeah, just off Burwood Highway.
Yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah.
That was the drive-ins. I didn't know that.
Yeah. There was a drive-ins. They had the big screen there. Oh, my uncle used to live just off the side street there.
Yeah.
We'd pull up our deck chairs, whatever, watch a movie, but in silence, of course.
It was as good as watching it.
As good as watching it.
Freaking wogs, man. So Richmond, Burwood.
Yeah.
When did you go to Noble? How long have you been in Noble?
Oh, I've been there, 21 years now.
Have you spent the majority of your life in Noble? Or would you say Burwood? Or Richmond? Where did you grow up? Which suburb did you actually grow up to into your teens?
Ooh. I'd say it's in my teens, definitely it was Burwood. Glen Iris didn't exist. It was Burwood, and but having a lot of family and relatives in Richmond, we'd always be there every public holiday, every weekend. Yeah. Like I virtually grew up there.
Yeah, I used to drive to Preston every weekend to see my auntie.
Yeah,
all my cousins are off Bell Street.
Yeah, and we'd like all weekend, literally all weekend we were there. And to the point where I used to ride my racer. Remember those things?
The racers?
The racer. The racer.
Why'd you just do the mime?
Push bike.
Yeah, pushy.
Pushy there. I used to ride that down to Richmond on occasion. And
from Burwood?
Yeah.
Yeah, straight. It's one straight road. It's not that bad.
Not that bad. It's not too bad.
I was going to say, I think about when I first lived in Noble and I'd ride to the city and back. I would do that after a shift of work.
Yeah.
Like I'd finish at 1, be on the bike by 1:30 and be in the city by like 3 o'clock. Now I think about it, that stretch of road, there's no way known I'd be able to do it on a bike. I'm like, how can you let yourself go? I'm like, that was 10 years ago.
Everything was easier 10 years ago.
That was actually 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
But everything was easier 10 years ago.
It's sad. Do you know why? Because I'm coming into that age bracket where all my best stories come from 10 years ago. 2012, 2011, 2013.
Same with me, mate.
Yeah. So it's like far out, man. That was 10 years ago. It's a shit timestamp to actually have.
Actually, mine's 20 years ago. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. I was talking to someone about high school. I'm like, I graduated 20 years ago. You know, I saw someone at a wedding yesterday. I'm like, mate, I've not seen that kid in at least 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, well, he stood in front of me. He didn't recognize me. No one recognizes me now. And someone said, you going to say anything? I go, nah, I've got nothing to say.
What can I say?
If I had something to say, I would have said it in between the last 20 years. I would have made more of an active effort to actually find them. I haven't. So I have to be honest, I forgot they existed until I actually saw them.
Yeah, it's a bit sad that. But, you know, life goes on. You move on, you know.
That's the thing. I don't think it's sad because I got a message a couple of days ago from a guy that I used to live with in the same building, and I haven't seen him in about maybe 2 years now, 1.5 years. And he messaged me. I think he's got engaged or something, and he's messaged me saying we should catch up, blah blah blah. And I may not be able to see him today because after I'm done here, I got work to do. And I was thinking, like I feel bad. I've known him less than 10 years.
Yeah.
I feel bad about that one. I feel sad about people that I forgot about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Look, I know it sounds cold, but I'm the same. Like, seriously, it's like if I don't bother with you, that's it. You know, don't worry about it. You know,
No ill will.
No hard feelings, no ill will. You know, the memories are there, everything's good.
Yeah.
You know, just you move on. You know, that's how life is.
I think, people, there are certain people, man, I said it the other day. I said nostalgia is the biggest form, can form the biggest toxicity because people get attached to either memories, good memories, or just things by default of being around it for that long. And that's enough to latch onto to keep something moving, even though it should have just been left in the past.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Even if it's just an area.
Yes, that's
or a
true.
house or anything.
Yeah. Look, it can be, you know, it can be like handcuffs or manacles. You know, it'll stop you from moving forward.
Exactly.
Yeah. We've learned that the hard way.
I was going to say, speaking of moving forward, that's a brilliant segue. Thank you for coming down.
Thanks, man.
Oppelstoiper. I know most of your story. It goes back. I mean, when did it all start? I mean, what are we now? 2022. When do you reckon it all began?
May 2017. But look, you know,
I love how you've got the day and the date.
well, you know,
Right. I gave you a name for this because I said we're going to keep you anonymous. I gave you a name. I went with Odysseus. I think it's a good name.
Brilliant.
Odysseus. You know your historical literature better than I do.
Yes, man.
What's the story of Odysseus?
Well, here's the brains. He wasn't the biggest or the most buffed guy in the outfit, but he had the brains, and they actually, there's the reason why they won the Trojan War.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
It was this long, epic journey.
Yeah.
Like we say Odyssey now, and it's literally a tale of journey.
Oh, yes, and his return home was, yes.
And he actually made it home.
Yeah, another 10 years on top of that, so 20 years for him.
Yeah. So I think it was very fitting, the name Odysseus.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
I'm going to preface everything by saying thank you for actually coming down because I know this is, it's what's it called? It's a...
You're ripping open a Band-Aid open wound, mate.
Yeah, you were talking about moving forward, but you're revisiting shit which you have done your best to actually get past.
Yeah, I've tried to suppress a lot of it.
I know, but you know what? I don't think suppression's the best way. I'm serious. I've been doing this podcast 6 years now, and I've actually vented a lot of. I don't get angry randomly anymore.
Yeah,
probably because I come in here and just yell at people, and then I listen back and then reflect. I'm like, you're a malaka. Like, do you know what I mean? So it is. This podcast in a lot of ways has been therapeutic for me.
It's therapy. It's therapy. It's good for you.
It is because you don't carry the baggage anymore. Yeah. You sort of put it there. It's on file, record if you ever need to return to it, but you don't have to keep repeating yourself forever. I've had so many conversations with people. I said, mate, just listen to episode 137. You'll hear my opinion on that. I'm not going back to it because I haven't got time right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're going back to May What was it?
2017.
Jesus.
I'll give you a specific date, but I'm not one to. You know,
Okay.
Trying to keep it as anonymous.
No. Look, like I said, everything will be censored when it has to be.
Yeah.
Everything can be suppressed. Mm-hmm. But we are dealing with sensitive details.
Yes. Like, you know, and there's children involved and court orders and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I have to be very careful of what I say.
Good.
So if I'm a little bit vague, please forgive me. It's not Alzheimer's. Might be, but, you know. I am getting on a little bit.
No, you're doing Malaki. I said it to you when I hadn't seen you for like a year and a half. No, it was about a year. Hadn't seen you. And I said, you look like you've de-aged like 20 years. Like you're refreshed, like frescos. It's like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Man, it's been a wild ride, man.
Yeah?
It really has. Yeah.
I know. I remember this. Well, we both finished up working in 2019. So from 2017 to 2019, I had open access to your life, basically. So I saw the whole, saw the whole progression and transition.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
I'm sort of stuck on it, because there's a lot of details that I don't actually remember. But
Hopefully we can remember it.
there's a lot of stuff. Even the few people that I've spoken to, and they've asked me who you're recording this week, and I've said, I'm doing this. I haven't said names, but I've said I'm doing this, and this is sort of their story. And they're like, wow, like that's actually really important. That should be out there.
Well, yeah, I think it's a story that should be heard. It's not often that, you know, how can I put it without sounding up myself? Single, I don't know, not single, but white, privileged male gets to do what I did.
And come out the
And
other
come
end.
out the other end with pretty much everything that I had, my goals intact. That's very rare. It's like being put through a meat grinder and coming out the other end. Somehow you've survived. And it really did feel like that.
I remember seeing it, and I was like, what the fuck's going on, man? We had a lot of conversations, and it was just
Yeah.
like, fuck. And then it all changed. I remember the one day when you came in, and it was like the load had just been lifted off you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Rewind.
Yeah. All right.
Go to
look,
May 2017.
The issues were long-standing. So, look, it was a building up. It was going to come to a boil at some stage. And it just all erupted in that period that we mentioned. So, I don't know how much I can say, but it's not your usual... all right. It's not your usual, like, I had an affair or she had an affair and, you know, we decided to call it quits, whatever, we can't stand each other. It wasn't like that, although it had a lot to do with substance abuse, dare I say it, on the other person's part, and irrational behaviour.
At that point, you were working, I mean, we were working the same job. So
Yeah.
it's a physically taxing job. Your kids, how old were they? I remember one was just in high school, I think.
No, she was in primary
Or
school.
just, like, on that cut. They were at that
Oh, yeah.
end.
Yeah, when it all erupted. Yeah. She just... we just got into high
I think
school.
she just got into high school.
into high school.
Yeah, because I remember your son hadn't been in yet.
No.
Because I remember when we caught up once or twice, you would tell me about how he'd
He
just
would have
gone
been,
in.
yeah. He was still in primary school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, you were already working full time.
Mm-hmm.
What about home life? How active were you as far as the kids?
Mate, I was 100% there. They didn't know their mum. I was the mother and father to these children. I was the one that was like changing the nappies
Oh, so from day dot?
from day dot.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Cleaning their spew, cleaning their vomit, or if they're sick or whatever. They only knew me as the mother and father.
Okay, I did not know it went that far back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, so you're...
It all went to shits about 3 years after the marriage, really. Like, the marriage, I mean, it was okay for about 3 years. We were together for 13 in total. And then, it all went to shits.
13 in total, and your eldest was probably like 10-ish, 11-ish when it went to shit. So we're talking like 6 years sort of past its use by date
Yeah.
of like just... So, and look, man, I can comment on that because I've come from a similar family where I could have put an expiration date on my parents' sort of relationship, even though they didn't want to admit it,
Yeah.
or kept it together because they thought, well, I mean, what do they know, man? I mean, you know what? Like, you're younger than my parents.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what the WOG stigma of,
Oh, yeah.
you know, not even just separation, but just keeping that family unit for the sake of kids.
Well, you know, my daughter was old enough to express her, you know, and my son, you know, they didn't want us to break up. They didn't want us to split up, you know. They wanted us to be that happy family unit. And, you know, I tried my best to keep it all going, you know. I don't know, to my detriment, I suppose, because it put a lot of emotional damage on my psyche, sort of thing.
But that's what I mean. Look,
I worked very hard during that period. You know, I had amassed wealth, assets. You know, when you met me, I was probably at, you know, I didn't have to work. Okay, I was just working just to pay off some bills,
yeah,
whatever.
just to have a bit of income, just topping up the account.
Yeah. I really didn't need to work, you know, full time. You know, it wasn't. That's why you never saw me do any OT. they used to beg me, "Oh, please." I'm like, no.
We need people to put their hands up. See you later, mate.
See you later. I'm like, well, you know, people were begging the
4 hours today, mate.
Yeah. And people were begging for more hours or more days, and I'm like, no, not interested. He goes, "Are you sure?" Like, you know, paying top dollar here. No, not interested, you know, because I didn't need it. You know, I was quite comfortable. I was, you know, I could probably say semi-retired at age 40, you know, 41, you know.
Yeah, but that's through hard work.
Of course, because I worked 3 jobs, you know, at the same time.
Were you doing security?
Doing security, home maintenance, you know, gardening, and I was working, you know, for a local council doing traffic management as well. So, you know, surveys and this and that, yeah. So
When were you doing that?
all at the same time during my RDOs, or whether I, you know.
Are you serious?
I never had a time off, basically.
I actually didn't know that.
She never worked in her life while she was with me. So her work ethic was zero. Like, no. Although, you know, she had a trade that she could have easily picked up and made squillions, probably could have made more money than me. Probably still is. But no, while she was with me, she didn't do anything. Didn't even bother to help out around the home. Or she couldn't. She was like so cooked.
So that was always there.
It happened gradually until, like, you know, it got worse and worse. I'm like, it's just a social thing, whatever. You
Look,
know.
it snowballs. I get
snowballs,
that.
yeah.
Look,
yeah.
the one thing I don't want to do is paint you in this light where you're some sort of deity in a household. But
No.
you're a grounded guy, and I take what you say for what it is because I know who you are.
I had no choice. I had to do it. I had no one else to rely on.
Yeah, 2 kids.
2 kids. I mean, I'd come home, they're starving. They're still in their pajamas, in diapers or whatever, you know, and they're crying because they're hungry. And, you know, the better half is passed out, you know.
I didn't know it was that extent from that early on.
And it just progressively got worse. And I said, hey, man, you need to wake up. You know, it's going to come to the stage where it's either going to be your family or your substance.
Your habit,
you know.
Okay.
Oh, no, that'll never happen. I'll give it up, you know, before that happens.
Yeah, kala.
And we all know how that turned out.
So it's come to a head. May 2020, May 2017, it blows up. So what were the first processes after that? What were you doing to sort of put in place to protect even yourself and your kids?
So prior to that, I had some really gut-wrenching decisions to make into how I'm going to protect myself and the children when this shit really blows up. So the only thing I could do was, record everything that was happening. I tried to write it down, and it's too much. It's way too much. The abuse on her part was just too extensive. Emotionally, physical, you name it, you know.
Had there been flare-ups like when police were getting involved by that point? Or did it start snowballing after 2017?
No. Look, it was so bad that the cops did call, they were called once.
Yeah.
And they came at about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Of course they did.
Dragged me out and had me as a, you know, like the perpetrator of all the violence or all the, you know, domestic violence in the house. Little did they know. And all I could think of was, well, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want the children to be taken away. So, you know, I just wanted to protect my children. No, everything's fine. Well, we just had a little argument, you know, no big deal. She's she's like passed out on the couch. Where's your partner? Oh, on the couch. Oh, well, they walked in. They walked in and they woke her up. If they searched her, they would have found everything. So their whole answers to all their answers and all the questions they had would have been answered just by searching her or giving her a substance sort of test.
A standard test that you and I would have been like subjected to with no argument.
No.
Yeah.
And mind you, I was doing security work at that stage, so I was doing night shifts, I was doing day shifts and whatever, and so I was exhausted, permanently exhausted. And she had this thing where she couldn't let go of things. So if she had an argument with someone, she'll bring it up. Even if it's 10 years ago or 12 years ago, she'll bring it up. She'll bring up everything. And then she'll be howling at the back veranda like an animal, howling, arguing with herself.
Is that just substance abuse?
It had to be. Or it's either that or psychosis. Like she was cooked.
Psychosis brought as an onset from
Possibly. It could be a combination. Maybe she was just,
like imbalanced
maybe, and that just brought it out even further out.
Is this pre-2017?
Yeah.
Okay. Shit, I didn't even know it was that bad to that point.
Oh.
No,
you have no idea.
Man, I just remember, look, from what I remember, this is what sort of got me. I just remember seeing you coming in because we finished up 2019 and this arc sort of wrapped by 2019.
Yeah. Which was very quick. If you think about it, like divorce proceedings go on for at least 5 years, 3 to 5
years. But you basically
less than 2 years. It was like 1 and a bit years.
Yeah, you sort of bottomed out and then went back up. And I just remember your decline was because with shift work, I mean, you know it. You do different shifts, different hours of the day, different days of the week. Sometimes I'd see you 4 days successively, then I won't see you for a week and a half.
That's right.
But I remember specifically coming in one day and you just looked worn out. Like you looked like you'd been to hell and back. I said, what the hell's going on? And then you started like explaining something and I went, shit.
It's like being dragged by the feet in a deep ocean and they drag you to the bottom of the ocean. You got to hold your breath and you got to hold on for dear life until the buoyancy will lift you back up and then you break the surface and you breathe again. You're almost dead. You're almost passed out. You might have even drunk some salt water.
I remember.
That's how
I remember
felt.
seeing it, and it was physically like physical manifestation was there. Like you couldn't hide it.
No. So just to go back, before I forget, so they were called in. I was dragged out of my bed in my pajamas in the middle of the morning, and I'm there, and it's freezing. There's fog everywhere. There's it's a cold, miserable winter's night, and they got me out there. Not even inside the house, and they're checking up on her, they're checking up on the kids, and they're treating me like the perpetrator of all the violence. I didn't say anything. Oh, what are you arguing about? Oh, usual stuff, money and
standards,
standards, As I said, my main priority was protecting my children. I didn't want them taken away because, think about it, substance abuse, And
if you come across as anything other than
an idiot,
perfect, just stupid,
they'll foster care, whatever, and that's what was going through. And then, of course, there was the follow-ups. So for about a month, we were getting phone calls from agencies and whatever, checking up on the kids and whatever. Yeah. So I managed to smooth things over because I'm predominantly talking to the agencies. So I'm an educated person. I can talk to them on a one-on-one sort of on a peer level, and smoothed it over, but. It was funny because I did record her on that day going nuts on the back veranda. And that's when the neighbours just had enough because this was going on for years, months, years. She's just going nuts on the back veranda. Just anything, any little thing that would annoy her, she'd just take it out to the nth degree, just really, really bad. So that's the pattern, Can
I ask, did she ever get any help?
No. And when I said, let's go get some help, let's get some counselling, no, you go, you're the one that's got the problems. She's the type of person where it's never her fault, it's always somebody else's fault.
Narcissistic sort of...
and yet she puts that label on me.
Okay.
Anyway, so
what about help for herself?
She didn't want any. There was nothing wrong with her.
Let's say the relationship was deemed irreparable, irreconcilable, beyond repair. What about just personally?
No, there was nothing wrong with her.
Did you ever get any help yourself? Did you ever talk to anyone about anything, or?
Well, I tried, but I couldn't really find someone that I clicked with to talk about.
A lot of people have said that to me.
Yeah,
It takes a while before they actually find someone they can open up to, or get advice, even just
Yeah.
that they feel comfortable.
And
getting.
I've got I've got family, whatever. We talk about it all the time, and that's helped a lot. So just being able to talk
you
about
had an
it.
outlet though, like you had support.
There was an outlet. I had support. I had my family. I had my siblings. So that helped, and extended family as well.
Yeah, friends, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So you've recorded her having that final outburst.
yeah, having that outburst, and I thought, now if I was to get into trouble at that point, I would have just pulled out my phone and said, "Listen to that," and you tell me who's at fault. Mind you, I've closed my bedroom door. I'm in the bedroom. She's on the other side of the backyard, basically, and you could hear word for word, like how many closed doors. And you could hear her screaming and yelling and carrying on
Where were your kids during all this?
in the bedroom trying to sleep. They've been affected big time. And I'm thinking, well, this is not normal. And, when we had time to ourselves, I'd say to the kids, look, this is not normal. What we're going through is not normal. This is not normal behaviour. And I'd say, look, your mother's sick, obviously, she's got issues.
Were they where it was a drug problem?
I tried to hide it as much as I could until they got to the stage where she didn't give a shit. She was doing it in front of them. So, And the violence on her part was unbelievable. Don't want to go into the details, but it was physical and emotional. To the point where, I was physically abused as well. But I knew that if I had ever touched her, even just to defend myself, I'd be in handcuffs. I wouldn't be here sitting talking to you.
I really I love the statistics where I don't love them, but it really annoys me when we hear about 1 in 5 women or whatever the number is are killed daily, etc. Like so many women are killed or attacked by men in this country. Yada yada. I go, that's terrible.
It is.
The sad part is the numbers are often skewed because men can't come forward.
No.
Either because of social or cultural reasons, the stigma, or the fact that no one actually believes shit that they have to say.
And it's funny you should say that because I knew I was up against all of that. And so I thought to myself, well, I'm going to have to start recording in a serious fashion here. So I started recording. I must have had 44 recordings where it was just the big ones, but it was just so often I just couldn't record everything. I wouldn't have enough phone space or enough phones or anything. So I just recorded the major ones, and they'll go on forever. The ranting and the raving would going on forever. So, and my daughter would always open the door and, her bedroom door and just go to sleep with the door open in order for her to listen in on what's going on. And then if need be, she'd try to jump out and try to, sort things out.
How old?
No child should be doing that.
I was going to say, how old was your daughter at this point?
Throughout her childhood. She was almost robbed of her childhood from what she saw, And look, it would have been easy for me to just pack my bags and leave. But in what sort of good conscience could I leave my children to someone that can't look after herself, let alone looking after the children as well? I couldn't do it. So I knew I was up for a very tough and a hard sort of Sorry, sometimes I just get emotional.
No.
Just reliving through it. It does get. I knew I was in for a hard, tough road ahead of me.
Yeah.
So I did the best I could.
See, the thing is, I see you as teetering between these different markers and different worlds, where it's what's best for you, but it comes at the sacrifice of what's best for, say, your children.
That's right.
At the same time, you're not trying to throw their mother under the bus.
No.
Because this is still the mother of your children.
Correct.
That's why it sort of burns me, because you're not some dickhead on the street that doesn't give a shit.
No. Because I don't want to be 20 years down the track and kids turn around and tell me you're an asshole because you lied to us because mum's not like the way you portrayed or whatever.
Exactly.
I never have done that.
Yeah.
I've never said they witnessed it, they saw it for themselves.
Yeah.
I didn't have to add anything. I really didn't. I just had to make sure that they were safe.
You were still working full time through this, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had no choice. I had to work.
Yeah.
Because caveats were put in place on all my properties. I couldn't even sell anything to fund, legal representation.
Okay, so then what happened once it took the turn?
Okay.
We're getting we're
getting sidetracked.
yeah.
All right, so let me go on to the fact that I've started recording, the massive fights, just the major ones, not the little ones. I mean, that's like water off a duck's back.
You know, it's funny, man, because like it's not funny. It triggers me when I talk about, say, domestic disputes and things like that. Like, my parents went through all that. Like I love my parents. I'm not throwing either of them under the bus, but I witnessed it growing up. Yeah. And as I got older, I started understanding a bit more. Yeah, both of them were at fault. Yeah. When you're young, you demonize whoever's the more vocal of the two. You know what I mean? Then when you get older, you analyze their psyche a bit better. You start understanding where they've come from. Yeah. I can understand where my parents both came from, and I've forgiven my old man for a lot of his shit. I've forgiven my mum for a lot of. If anything, I've sort of put my mum in her place with a lot of stuff as well. Yeah. Stuff that she probably wasn't aware of that I actually had to make her aware of. I can forgive it because I understand where they come from, but I can't say that hasn't affected my outlook. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And then when people say to me, "Oh, could you tell that, they had issues?" I'm like, are you kidding? Yeah. We're not talking about a flare-up at the Safeway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Where would you like them to start?
Yeah. And that's how my kids are the same.
And for you to be able to turn around and say, this isn't normal. No. And actually make it clear that this is an issue. Yeah. Like, this is not normal.
Yeah. And I would try to shield them as best I could emotionally as well. Like, every time we tried to get out, get out of the house, spend the day, at my parents or at my sisters or, wherever, at cousins or just a day out.
Just to get out
movies,
of
just to get out of the environment. I would and then when we'd come back, we'd have to hear it all again. It would start up again. This, whatever. Where have you been? Blah, blah, blah. You're talking about me, paranoia, Yeah. Always on their side. It's always like, why do I have to choose sides? I don't want to choose sides. And, you can't make me cut off my side of the family. That's one thing she wanted me to do. Look, I tried all sorts of things. I've read self-help books, find that person's language of love, that sort of stuff. I tried all the different languages. I tried this and that. Nothing seemed to work. It was just like a no-win situation. You try your best. You even try counselling. Look, I'll go counselling, you come counselling. We'll do couples counselling, whatever. No. It was all. Tried my best to. Then it got to the point where I can't do it anymore. I've sort of just given up. I've thrown everything at it. I've tried to make peace. I've tried to, do all of that sort of, just to. And then it was just a pure matter of survival. Survival for me. I wasn't getting any sleep. She's screaming every night.
How are the cops not called more frequently?
Don't know. That's the miracle. Don't know. Because our neighbours, mate, unless they hear shooting or whatever, they're not going to call anybody, you know. They're good neighbours in that respect, but it's just the area that we're in.
No. I lived less than 800 metres up the road from you, and I know cops were never called, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd have to call cops because I'd see a guy standing on Princess Highway at 2 a.m.
going to get run over,
jump in front of a truck.
Yeah.
Well, domestics going on.
Correct. Yeah,
because you'd sit there and wait and wait.
Well, I was in the situation 800 metres on the other side where, like, if I'd see someone in the middle of the road. Yeah. Or the two bums fighting in the park, I'd be the one that's ringing up, You
always did it, and that's the thing. Like, you'd sit there and listen to a domestic, but how long am I going to listen to this? And it goes, and then I would always sort of call the cops when I would hear a line like, "I'm going to kill you."
Yeah. Well, that's
like, all right, well,
that's when you pull the trigger.
Yeah, it's like, well, fun time's over. We better get someone down here.
Yeah, that's true, and it just never happened. And to the fact where it affected the children, like. They didn't sleep. I didn't sleep. We were all zombified, but we trotted along. I went to work every day.
Yeah.
Got to the point where I was getting sick every third week, fourth week, I was getting sick. That's how run down I was.
Yeah, like your immune system.
My immune was so suppressed, like you just breathing in air I'll get sick, That's how bad it was. And people would say, even in security, "Oh, mate, you look like shit. Didn't you sleep at all?" Yeah, if only you
That's
knew.
the thing. When you work in shift work, you already sort of prepare yourself to look like crap because you're run down.
Yeah.
But for me to come in and see, because I hate hearing it when people say to me, fuck, man, you look terrible. My concierge said it to me the other day. I walked in, I'm like, hey, man. He's like, fuck, you look fucked. I'm like, yeah, thanks. So, but when I saw you, after I hadn't seen you for about a week or two, and I was just like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
So then you started letting me in on some of it.
Yeah. So it got to the point where, okay, I gave up all my other jobs. I had to do something in order to be able to, function as a human being. I've got 2 children to, and plus, a burden, which she was, to the fact where, like, she had done so much crap that a couple of times I had to take her to, like, the local clinic to revive her because that's how effed she was.
No shit.
Yeah. And the last time I had the children in tow because I couldn't leave them anywhere.
Yeah.
And to see that, oh, no, it wasn't that, Well, what was it?
Anaphylactic. It was nuts. It was walnuts in the salad.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Your body's just shutting down. It's just how much can it take every night? Until 4 or 5 a.m. and then you pass out, and then you don't get up till 4 or 5. In the afternoon, and then you do the same again. So I was the mother father. I did everything, and I gave up all my jobs. Other jobs, and then I just was doing security, and then the shift work was killing me on top of the home stress, and that's when I got the job at the warehouse.
Yep.
So we're at that point now.
The good life.
The good life. Yes, I had some fun times there. So
it was. I told my old man the other day. I said we're talking about Easter, and I remembered we would always get Easter off we would work on Aussie Easter, so we would get the Sunday off for Greek Easter, and then 2012 or 2013, I can't remember which year it was. Maybe it was 2012. They all put us on Greek Easter. I'm like, why? Me, you. Arch.
I had people coming into my house.
King George, like we were all there. Yeah. And I remember we were on the top of the PQR, and I started singing Christos Anesti.
Yeah.
And you fired up. The whole freaking warehouse echoed, man. It's like, well, we can't go to church. I go,
remember cut the zibikias we used to do in the middle? Just get off the forklift, do a zibikia.
I remember the one time you did it. You got to the knees and you had your arms out.
That's it.
I forgot about that. Good times, man.
Yeah, we had some good times.
Well, you had to make it. You had to make it last.
You had to, man. Yeah.
Like I ran into one of the guys we used to work with last night, and I haven't seen him in about 3 years. And he said, "You know what I remember?" He goes, "I remember you coming up to the smoko area one day." And he goes, "I'm sitting there doing my triple shot of Milo and coffee." And he goes, "You walked in," and he goes, "You looked up." He just looked at me and just said, "I'm going to kill myself." Okay, shit, man. Where were we, man? Like, that's bad.
Yeah, I know. So, so that's that stage of my life. It was relatively good. I was making, good money, not that, and she couldn't see any of that. She couldn't enjoy any of it. The fact that she was, at home and just wasting her life away, not actually enjoying the fact that she wasn't working. Everything that she needed was there. I refinanced my loan and built the house, like doubled the size of the house. Everything was new. Brand new kitchen, brand new bathroom, extensively re-renovated everything in the house.
The kids relatively well adjusted to everything by that point? Or were they struggling?
To them, it was becoming normal. It wasn't. It was anything but normal.
Look, I can relate. Like,
it's just, mum's gone off again. It's normal. And I tried to hide the stuff, but when it became an open thing, I mean, Jesus, when you walk in, like, coming home one day and then, your little kid's chewing on, shit that you shouldn't be chewing on and washing the mouth out and thinking, oh, what the hell is going on here?
Fucking hell, man.
And then that the other, inebriated, like, on the couch. I mean, that's normal.
That's shit that you either see in movies or you think only happens in low socioeconomical circumstances.
And I'm not from that area.
That's what I mean.
I could say I'm middle class, I come from a middle class family.
You're an ambitious lower middle class man.
Exactly. Yeah. With ambitions to go higher.
Yeah.
Which I would have been.
You're not scraping the bottom.
No.
You're not sitting back and relaxing.
No.
But you're trying to have an established, well-balanced sort of
Yeah.
household.
Yeah. And I tried the best. And you know how it works. We don't want to show everyone our dirty laundry. We don't want to, that'd be the laughing stock or people that point fingers at us. So, in the outside world, everything looked relatively, calm, apart from the fact that, she doesn't get along with anyone. The house was shut to everyone. No one was allowed in, no one was allowed out.
Border security.
Worse. I felt like I was in the Klingon Empire. Everything's top secret. Couldn't, no one's allowed in, no one's allowed out.
Yeah.
It was, it wasn't ideal.
So what year are we in now?
Okay, so let's just fast forward to 2017. And I remember this distinctly because always when it came towards my mum's birthday, all hell would break loose.
I love how, especially with Greeks, it's all about anniversaries, dates. With us, the blow-ups would start in the first week of December. December has had my old man's birthday, my birthday, Christmas, New Year's. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, people have always said to me, why are you so down on, the holidays? I'm like, because for the first 15-odd years of my life, the holidays literally represented the weeks when my parents would fight the most.
Yeah.
It was preempting the arguments,
It was we'd go somewhere, socialise, have a great time, and then the car ride home was hell.
Yeah, something would trigger.
The car
it was always
ride,
different.
Yeah.
Or it would happen behind my back because I was too young, didn't see it. But for whatever reason, something always flared up on those dates.
I remember, having to drive to Queensland 2 times because, we couldn't, we couldn't fly over because of somebody's habit, and I remember getting bashed driving on the bloody highway,
Yeah, that's insane.
110 k's an hour, 2 kids in the back, and, she's, and I'm just trying, so don't worry, kids, it's all good. Yeah. Griswolds,
Trying to stay on cruise control while fending off someone that's having a fucking... all right.
They're having an episode, yeah. That's normal. Anything but. Look, I tried to do the right thing, for my children's sake, and, all right, well, we had to have her along. We couldn't exactly leave her home. And if you see my holiday snaps, it's always me and the children. She's nowhere near. Because she's passed out.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, man. At least you have those photos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have the photos.
Yeah, no interest in what we did. So, and thank God I've got those photos or something. Anyway, so, all right, the flare-up happens, mum's birthday, my mum rings up. Mind you, by that stage, I was sick again. That year was a very bad year for me because the incidents were becoming more and more. And the insanity was becoming more and more. And the substance abuse was increasing till the point where, hell, if this person doesn't drop, it'll be a miracle. It'll be the second coming of Christ, And I remember, I was sick as a dog, absolutely sick. To the point where I called in sick. I was on my 4th or 5th day on sick leave. Couldn't move. And every time I was on sick leave, let's say, it'd be twice as bad. She'd make sure that she'd make it so bad that, I wouldn't want to take sick leave, That's how bad. Arguing for the sake of arguing. I think she got off on it. I don't know what it was. And basically, she hadn't slept how many days. And that was it. It was like, my mum rang up and that was it. That was the end. And there was accusations and this and that and just getting worse and worse. It was steamrolling into like a big thing. And then, she's announcing it to the whole world that, that's it, and divorce, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, it was no big deal for me because I was resigned to the fact that it was going to happen at some stage in my life, because I could see it happening. And she's threatened to do it many times before. Like I would hear that, 5 times a week at least.
It's an empty threat by that point.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But I knew something was different because I knew she was planning something, and I couldn't point my finger at it, but I knew this May was going to kick off. Just her behaviour, the fact that it was like she was geeing up herself, she was getting Dutch courage by doing more and more the abuse. And I remember she's got something planned. She says, that's it. You know, she announced it to the world on the veranda again. You know, she's, I said, well, what are you doing? No, I'm divorcing you, whatever. Okay. I say, are you serious? She goes, you know, you don't need to know what I'm doing anymore. I'm divorcing you. That was her, you know, quote, unquote. Okay, well, you know, I was sick as a dog. I was sitting on the couch. I couldn't enjoy my veranda either because there's a sliding door and she was always out there doing that shit. And, you know, every time, the pong, the smell, the stench was just unbelievable. I'm not sure what other things she did, but she must have been on other stuff because just the violence and the anger tells me that.
Sounds like ice to me.
Must have been on something else. Not that I ever saw it, but I did catch her out many times. Like she even did it while pregnant to my son. That's caused issues. She denies it, still denies it. But I had the evidence. And I had all this evidence and she's going nuts. Yeah, and she's calling, you know, she always called her side of the family complaining. That was standard. Every day she would be on the phone dissing me out to her. It was never her fault. It was always something that I did or didn't do or, you know, something I should have done. And I don't know what advice her siblings or her mum would give her, but obviously the wrong advice. They never told her to pull her head in.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
What was the support like from her side? None.
She had total support.
Okay, so
on
she
her
had mastered to the point where
Correct.
she had them believing whatever
Everything.
she wanted.
Everything.
Okay.
That I was abusive, that I was, you know, this and that.
Benefit
everything.
of the doubt, given it's her family, but at the same time, surely they should have been able to pick up that something wasn't right. Yeah.
And the fact that, you know, I don't want to say much, but, you know, there is substance abuse in that family.
Okay.
So that was normal to them. You know, I'm abnormal.
Yeah, that's what you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, so she called her sister to come and pick her up. I thought, okay, no problem. Packed her belongings. You know, I recall 3 bags. One had the paraphernalia in there. That was most important.
Yeah. That had the lock and key. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
It did literally had a lock and key. And she was just high as a kite. And if you saw her, just the demeanour of her, the craziness.
Just zombied out.
Zombied out, like cooked. And, okay. Well, are you coming back? You're going to, you know.
Were your kids home when this happened?
Yeah, they were home.
Fucking hell.
Watching it all go down.
Okay.
My son tried to harm himself with the set of steak knives, whatever they were. You know, the blocks of knives. He was going to cut his finger off. Mum, I'm going to cut my finger off if you don't, you know, if you leave.
How old was he when this?
He was about 7 or 8. So I quickly hid the block of knives, you know. I said, no. I mean, we don't do that. That's, you know, really bad. You're going to regret that. And I said, can't you see what you're doing to the children? Don't give a F. You know, just at that stage, just didn't care. And I thought, okay, well, you don't want to talk about it? No. You don't want to see counselling? No. Just, you know, she cranked up the music and did more of it, whatever she was doing. Okay. So the kids were with me. We're sitting on the couch. I'm sick as a dog. I'm just so congested. I can't even talk at that point. That's how bad I was. I couldn't even talk. and trying to deal with this and trying to make sure the kids are safe and, you know. I thought, okay, her sister rocks up. She walks out and they take their bags, they go into the car. And they're in the car and I said, there was a bit of a conjecture, you know. Well, I had the kids with me and I said, Mum, the kids are screaming at her, Mum, you know. Don't go, whatever, you know. I said, it's okay, look, let her go. She'll blow off some steam. She'll come back, you know. And that was it. Like, you know, she made sure she took the paraphernalia, 2 bags with her in the car. And then they remembered, oh, shit, the kids. I thought, well, no. So I said, come on, kids, nothing to see here. Took them in. We were at the front doorstep. watching, all this thing go down. Let's go, kids. It's all over now. She's going to drive off. We don't want to see that, so let's go back inside the house and, just tidy up a bit and we'll go somewhere, just to get their mind off it. Even though my world was falling apart, before my eyes. So I shut the door and then I hear them screaming. Doors fling open. I'm looking and they're running up the driveway, screaming about the kids. I said, well, at that stage I was in fear for the children's safety and my safety. So I closed the door. And I didn't get a chance to lock the security thing, but I did not latch the door. Because the last thing I wanted to do was get into a scuffle with her and then have the police come over and deal with it. Because if I get into a scuffle with her, that's it. I'm gone. Handcuffs. And the secondary and, primary purpose really was to protect the children because what? Got to get into a tug of war and then what? Would dislocate, cut the child in half. So somebody gets injured or someone gets pushed through because I had glass doors in the front. So I was very worried about that. So, and the kids were just behind me and she was smashing the door. She was kicking it. She was trying to, and I thought, oh my God, this door's going to give. It was rattling in the door frame. That's how hard she was smashing it. And then her foot came through the panel, showered us with glass, everything.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
I did not know any of this.
Yeah. So this is the crucial point of the story was that if that didn't happen, I would have been asked to leave the house. But because that happened, the police had no choice, even though they wanted to keep her in the house, they had no choice but to ask her to leave. So this fighting's going on. Neighbours have called the police by that stage. I'm calling, my family saying this and this is happening. Can, send down my siblings? I need a hand here because this is crazy. This is before the cops,
Yeah.
Her sister called the cops, apparently. Neighbours have called the cops. My siblings have called the cops. I've never seen so many cop cars come to my house. It was worse than the original time. I mean, the original time there was 3 cop cars. There was about 6 coppers out there in the middle of the night, surrounding me basically. I felt like I was going to get Rodney Kinged. I swear. They're going to go clubbing on me.
And the only footage would be grainy VCR footage from across the road.
From across the road, correct. And I thought, no, this is... and I thought, no. And I said, call the police. I said, I'm not calling the police. I'm not calling the police until something happens. Because what am I going to call? Well, we're having a domestic.
Yeah.
But once her foot came through the door, I thought, that's it. Even I called the police in the end. And, mate, they all rocked up. At that stage, they separated her. They had her in the front yard. I was inside with the children. And then my siblings arrived. And she went ape. Why are they here? Whatever. Because I invited them to come in. I need some support. And this is where it all gets a bit strange. Now, I thought, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, okay? But what I witnessed, what the police did, just doesn't sit well with me. They were so aggressive towards me. And clearly I'm a sick man sitting on the couch, I can hardly breathe because of respiratory, cold. And yet they're looking at me like I had, you're the culprit. You're the one that did it. And I said, I told them, this happened, this happened, this happened. She's high as a kite. Can't you tell? Because she wasn't making any sense. I mean, if they don't know what high as a kite is, I don't know what.
If cops in Noble Park don't know what someone under substance abuse looks like, then we've got issues.
I was pleading with them. Give her a test. Open up the first little bag with a lock and search it. Oh, no, we can't do that. Oh, where's that bag? I go, it's in the boot of the sedan. You go and have a look. No, we can't do that. Well, that's not why we're here for. And I beg to differ. This is exactly the reason why you're here for, because if it wasn't for this, none of this would be happening. No, we can't do that. And I said, well, She's been violent, as you can see. She's busted the window. There's glass everywhere. And she was trying to break all the other windows. How the other windows didn't break, I don't know. It was a miracle. Her excuse was, I threw the keys at the window. I said, are you kidding me? When I saw the foot come through the panel of glass at the bottom? And that was her, take on it. And they chose to believe her take on it, not mine. And they refused to test her.
So you've got, let me just summarize here.
Female police officers were the worst. The men were a bit better. But the females treated me straight away as I was like the perpetrator of the violence.
So you've got a woman that's high on something, has smashed a door in with her foot,
tried to smash all the other windows,
has a bag full of gear on her, and cops refused to test her, refused to search for the bag, and all this has been going on for years by this point.
Yeah.
It's become like, as in, there's been reports. It's not like it's the first time an incident has happened.
Yeah. It was the second time they came to the house.
Okay.
And they refused. That's not what we're here for. We're here for the domestic violence.
But that was all on her.
That was all on her.
So then what?
Yeah, why are you here? Well, basically, and then they separated me from the children. And so I got one of my siblings to go in with the children, with the policemen, because the policemen were asking them questions, and I wasn't allowed to be there. Basically, they were saying, "Who started? Who do you want to go with? Your mum, or you want to stay with dad?" Without a question of a doubt, my children chose me. That's all they know, and they were insistent. And then they separated them. They asked them in front of me, and then I said, Dad. Then they separated them. They asked them again. They still said, Dad. They were trying to find an excuse to get her back into the house. And they said to me, what do you want to do? I said, well, I don't want her in the house.
I guess once she's out of the house, she's their problem.
Yeah. I said, I don't want her in the house. What's going on here? I'm afraid for my life and for my children's. Yeah. And I was. I mean, and yet they were rude to my siblings as well. The way they were treating them. And they what I was telling him to write down in the statement, none of it appeared. It was all her side of the story. And then they come back inside after interviewing her. And then they come back inside and said, sign here. What am I signing? Oh, look, we've decided to do an AVO. You're the protected person and the children. And, if you wanted to leave, you'll sign here. I said, okay, let me have a read. And it was all her side of the story. It was like, I said, I don't get it. I said, where's my side of the story? Am I going to get a copy of my side of the story? Go, well, this is just her side of the story. I said, I faintly recall they said, you'll get something in the mail.
It's in the mail.
Yeah. I said, well, he goes, basically, it's like you sign this and then she's out of your hair. Now, she can go wherever, Yeah. But if you don't sign it, then, there might be a possibility that I'm the one that's out of the house.
How does that work?
You tell me. And I thought, what do I do? I thought, okay. I had no choice, signed it. Thinking that I was going to get something in the mail. This is how stupid I was. I didn't know, how this all works. Because I've never been in trouble with the law. I've never been, to court. I've never been, anywhere. I have no idea. Look, I did legal studies at uni. Yeah. I did
but if you haven't...
But it wasn't criminal law, It was civil law. It was just the basics, Basics of civil, basics of criminal.
At that time, you've got a woman high on crank, and then you've got kids that have been subjected to it. You're under the pump. Yeah. You're just trying to diffuse it and get everyone away just so you can calm back down.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And we said to her, okay. And then even before the cops had come, I said, well, just go, come back when you calm down, we'll talk about it. And none of that ever happened. So that was on a Sunday. And on the Monday, I was in court. And I said, you're going to have to come to the magistrate's court. You're like a witness, and basically, if the magistrate wants to ask something, you're the police witness. And I was named as the protected person and my children. I thought, well, okay, how hard could this be? Go to the magistrate's court, you don't need any representation. Well, that's what I was led to believe, and I thought, oh, all right. So,
Were you dandy?
yeah, I had no idea how to get in. I had no idea where to go. I had no idea of anything. They, on the other hand, seem to know exactly where to go and the shortcuts to get to the place. Like they've been through it all before, and I had no idea. So I rock up, and my mum wanted to come, because she was worried. Support, and my other sister, came along just for support. The children at that stage were with my dad, and there was always that fear that they were coming after us. They were going to come and get the children. And I remember the first few months, it was just that fear was always in the back of my mind. They're going to take my children away. And I'll tell you why, because when I did go to the magistrate's court with my, siblings, just the sight of it, I started shaking. That's the trauma coming out of me. So I asked to be separated. So they took me into like a protection sort of area where, victims of domestic violence go, and they had sort of like a social counsellor there, and basically I was there with my sisters, and I was waiting for someone to come and interview me. It was the police prosecutor. So after reviewing what they had, and then after they saw the AVO, and after they talked to her, then they come to me. Then they started asking me questions. And so from a position of strength saying, okay, yeah, well, I'm in the right. I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't been violent ever. Neither emotionally, financially, or anything. If anything, she was financially draining me. That stuff's expensive. When you go to when your bank account hits zero and then you can't pay for groceries, then you know that you've got an issue. And when you try to explain to that person, they don't care. Or they choose not to care. But anyway, sorry, I digress. But so we're in the magistrate's court, and she's accused me of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, a whole list, anything that you could think of, you name it. From sexual stuff to false imprisonment to financial abuse to everything, even to messing around with, the children. And the coppers are just looking at me like I'm some sort of monster. I'm thinking to myself, what am I like? If I was that type of monster, there's obviously there are monsters. I got my mum here. I've got sisters here. Support. We're a tight, close knit. Family.
You're not the Manson family.
Yeah, we're not the Manson family. And don't you think they would have noticed something?
Yeah.
Or don't you think the school would have reported something if I was that kind of a monster?
Would the kids pick Dad when they've got a chance to get the fuck out?
Get the fuck out, exactly.
Yeah.
No. And so from a position of strength, and mind you, this was, it was set for a mention. It was meant to be like, half an hour, whatever. I was there all day. Like literally 8 hours, because she kept on bringing more stuff and more stuff and more stuff, to the point where hour by hour my position was getting worse, and to the fact where they're going to take my children away from me. What the hell? Don't you want to hear my story? And I explained it to him, and luckily the prosecutor, he was ethnic, so he understood where I was coming from, but the other one, the female, didn't. And she just, she was very, I think. And he said, listen, he goes, look, she's bringing up some serious accusations. I said, yes, but they're accusation. Has she any proof? Does she have any proof? No. Well, then, how can I be found, you automatically think I'm guilty of all these accusations? All this time, police haven't rocked up to my house for any, abuse that I've committed, or any physical abuse or anything like that. Surely there would have been some record somewhere that I'm that type of person. Clear record, nothing. So, and he said, listen,
character witnesses, your neighbours, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And in the end, I was trying to find my old lawyer that I had used once before, and I was trying to, Alex, I'm at so-and-so, blah, 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 this is happening. Okay, just calm down, just stay there, and see what happens today, and then we'll come in first thing tomorrow morning and we'll organise whatever. I said, and I was begging them, okay, listen, to the prosecutor, I've got recordings on my phone. Choose whichever one you want. To see to see what's going on. And not one, there was over 44, 45, 50 hours of recordings throughout a whole period of a decade. Consistently consistent of her going, they didn't want to know. They didn't want to know. What, is it complicating your matter? Mind you, this is for the AVO, let alone anything, but it was turning into something more serious.
So the AVO would have been against her to protect you and your kids.
Yeah.
It ended up being you getting accused of
all sorts of nasties.
everything you could put on a piece of shit in society.
Yeah. You know me.
Well, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I've argued with you mostly about religion.
And I'm a religious guy, I'm a conservative guy, and it's just nothing. I'm the one that's taking the kids to church, not her, me. I'm the one that's getting the priest to come in to bless the house. That's the kind of background I'm coming from.
It's not just that, man. The fact that you've literally been the mother and father for a decade.
Yeah.
While working.
Yeah.
And building Perusia and assets.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't do that while.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
No.
You had bruises, she didn't. So how does that work out?
You tell me. But because I was white, male, I'm the privileged one, or I'm the perpetrator of all domestic violence, according to society, according to the statistics. They looked at me like I was like that, and hour by hour, my position was crumbling. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my children. Today is the day I lose my children.
You're going to go to jail. You know what I mean? You're going to be defending yourself in an actual court case. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking, these guys going to charge me with anything? But how can they charge me if they haven't got any proof? Seriously.
You had proof.
I had proof.
You had proof in your hand that they didn't want to see.
Nope.
They had proof in in the boot of a car that they didn't want to look at.
Yep. And the fact that they could have just given her one of the saliva tests, they would have been, get a haircut or whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't want to know
They didn't want to touch it,
no.
but you were now standing trial basically for all the shit that...
Almost, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, and I'm shaking. At that stage, my emotions have gotten the better of me, and I'm shaking because it's just like I was a dump. It was one of those emotional dumps that, my marriage is over, all hell's going to break loose, and this has been building up for 10 years, minimum 10 years, and it's all come to now. And then I was just, I'll say it, I was emotional. I was crying. I was like, whatever, trying to keep my shit together because I didn't want to be blubbering and they're thinking, well, you wouldn't be able to look after children. Look at you, you're emotionally not there. So I was trying to be a bit strong too, So, but somehow, seeing my statement, I said, well, where's my statement that I gave to the police? He goes, well, this is all we have. I go, but where's my statement that the policeman was writing down in his notes? I haven't received it yet. And he's looking at me thinking, what are you talking about? I go, this is what you signed. He turned around and he said, he bit me in the ass. And it will bite me in the ass again in a future court case. That particular statement that I had to sign to get her out. And I'm thinking, oh my God. And so I can't remember now exactly what was going on, but I said, listen, I was insistent. My sisters were, she was insistent. Listen to it. Just take any recording, listen to it. Oh, we don't have the time to listen to an hour of recordings or whatever. Okay, just listen 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever, you'll see. And no, it wasn't happening. So I'm in shock. And then they must have been talking to the judge, and I'm not even in the court case to hear any of this. Because next thing I know, I walk in there with the police prosecutor, I sit down, and the judge is talking to them already. So they've had some sort of discussion. And basically what it came to is that she was worded up to go get an AVO against me with all those things. And I was presented the very next day. I had to go to the police station with an AVO against me. And the policeman was like, I'm really sorry. And he was embarrassed. I said, well, if this is true, why aren't I in custody? If this is true, why haven't I been charged? He goes, I know, look, it's all bullshit. They can write whatever they want. This is the guy copper, right? I was just shaking my head. So he read it all out to me. He was embarrassed. He was reading out all the accusations. He was embarrassed on my part. Yeah, just sign here that you got it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I took it away. And then I was reading it. I thought, gloves are off. There's no reconciliation. After you've been accused of that shit, there is no reconciliation. The only reason why she took such a keen interest in getting the children back was, obviously, she wanted the house. She wins the kids, she'll get the house, she wins everything. I took a different tack to it. It wasn't about Perusia at that stage. It was about the children's future. And like I said, when I was thinking I'll go back, the court case at that stage, the judge was talking to her. The police prosecutor told me that basically, I don't think the judge will take the kids off you today. Today.
What do you mean today?
Exactly. I thought, are you? Oh, okay. Today. I thought, what? I thought, oh my God. So, and then I said, well, yeah, I'm going to have to get the big guns in here because no one wants to listen to my side of the story. So they were going to adjourn it and they were going to I had to come back like 2 days' time as a priority. I thought, that's great. That's really great. From being a protected witness to being the number one suspect in the,
Public enemy number one.
Public enemy number one, yeah. I thought, without any shred of proof either. And that's what gets me. Like, I've always gone with the Bible in my hand my whole life, trying not to hurt anyone, trying not to do anything wrong, always. Maybe that's my naivety. But, yeah, well, that was jarring, to say the least. No, I don't think you'll get the kids taken away today. So
that's comforting.
Yeah.
No worries.
So even the judge said, well, she looked at me and she looked at her and she presented really well, though, my ex. That's the thing. She had the corner. They called her, mate, she's the Antichrist. She never went to church. She never did anything like that, sobbing. And meanwhile, I'm the one that's having a breakdown. I'm in the separate sort of,
the chambers.
The chambers. And then when she comes out, I requested that they put a screen between her and me because I couldn't even bear to look at her. I was that, that shook up by just all the accusations of what was happening throughout the whole day. So the judge looked at me, looked at her. I said, well, look, we have to adjourn it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty sure that the children are safe and she named my name. And,
Thank God.
And she put it on public record that she personally thought that the children were safe under my care. Because I've got no record. Not even a speeding ticket and nothing. Absolutely nothing. So they thought, well, okay, thank God for that. But as the guy said, for today. So I get the family, I get some family law experts. So it was like a medium-sized boutique-y sort of, they're really good. And to represent me. Not cheap. But I had to do it. And I said, look, this is happening. I feel like, I'm about to lose everything, including my children. And it's no go because if that was going to happen, I would have walked away a long time ago and I wouldn't have, been in such a situation as I am now. I said, I need to be heard in the magistrate's court. No one wants to hear me on my voice. They've heard her. They've had separate conversations with her, and the judge has, and yet I haven't. And here you go. I've been presented with, an AVO.
And which your statement from the initial incident wasn't even anywhere.
Nowhere. Okay, and I'm still waiting for my original statement. And they'll look at me thinking, geez, when do you come down? Oh, my God. And I said, okay. So I had to get a barrister to represent me at the lowest of lowest, where you don't need anyone. You just basically you rock up yourself and you represent
Wear a
yourself.
shirt and tie.
Yeah, and you represent
yeah.
yourself. I had to get a barrister. And I was lucky she was very good. It was a girl barrister, and she was very good. And she goes, okay. She goes, what do you got? And I told her the situation. I told her about all my recordings. She goes, okay. Choose 3 at random and just take 10 excerpts from it. Okay. So I did that. And I transcribed them and everything. Gave them to the barrister. And then she heard the very last one in its entirety. Last recording. Before she heard it, she goes, how bad does it get? Like, how bad do you get? I said, you'll see. You won't hear a boo out of me. And she turned around, she goes to me, yeah, you're right. She goes, this is probably, in all my years, probably in there with the top 3 of the worst ones I've ever heard in my life. And she heard, and she saw the other ones as well. And in the meantime, I was busily transcribing shit and trying to get everything done. And then I thought to myself, okay, this has never been what she said, I said. I don't want a ding dong, because that's not what they want. Primarily, this has got to do with the children. And my whole take on the whole court case was the children's safety, the children's this, the children. So, and in the meantime, I got a letter, caveat, on all my stuff, and an emergency federal court hearing. Federal court hearing. How they got it, I don't know. They must have had some strings to pull. They must have known someone. Within 2 weeks. And if you know, it takes months and months and months to get a federal court hearing. But this was an emergency.
This is baseless. This is with zero evidence. This is all on hearsay of a woman that was high as a kite.
Yeah.
Where were the kids during all this time? Still, I mean, you were back home, obviously.
I was back home. I didn't take the kids to school.
Yeah.
Because there was still the fact that she still had the rights to go to the school, basically kidnap them.
Yeah.
And my lawyer said, don't send them to school. As day follows night, or as night follows day, she's going to go and get them. And she did. She tried.
Really?
Yeah. But they weren't there.
She turned up to their school looking for them.
Yeah.
To pull them out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you notify the school about what was going on?
Yeah.
What did the school say?
Oh, take care,
Oh, so they were fine.
They were fine with it. Take as much time as you need.
Did they let you know as well, like, once it happened?
Yeah. Yeah. She's turned up. She's, like, not with it. She's, like, raving. She's raving. She's off her head. I said, yeah, well, that's what I had to deal with. So that happened.
Okay.
It was all about possession of the children. She wanted the children. If she had the children, then she thought that she would get the house and everything else. She made it out like I was some sort of millionaire,
You're working with me, man.
Yeah, far from the truth,
Eating cold tuna for lunch.
That's it, mate. Yeah, yeah. I did what I had to do.
Yeah.
And she made out like I was a millionaire. And, everything had caveats, couldn't sell anything, none of my assets, I couldn't cover my legal fees. I had to work, so, I was doing that. Everyone was helping me look after the children, everyone. They weren't going to school for 2 weeks at least until we had a bit more idea of what was going to happen. And so I go back a couple of days later, and it was with the barrister. So we sat down, police prosecutor turns up, okay, we're going to withdraw the AVO on her part. So you're not protected anymore, all the children. How about her AVO? Well, you can contest that. Really? Okay. So do you still refuse to listen to any of the evidence that I have that she's been a violent person throughout the whole relationship and I am a victim of abuse? And it was like almost scoffing at me. It was like, didn't believe me. Because I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
And they didn't believe me. Okay. So I said to the barrister, okay, your turn. She tore shreds off him. She tore shreds off him. You know, she goes, is it because my client is a male and he's white and blah, 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 blah? Literally tore shreds off him. Oh, no, I can assure you, like, if he had any issues, why didn't he go to the police and report it or blah, blah, blah? I said, because he was scared for the children's sake.
Yeah.
You know, because he was always threatened that she'll take the children away. And, you know, she can't look after herself. How's she going to look after the children? And what happens if she, in her, you know, inebriated stupor, should decide to do something stupid to the children? I had too much to lose. And in my mind, that's what I thought. That's why I kept it going for as long as I did the marriage, when it was dead. Right, that thing flatlined like 10 years prior. So at the end of the day, she tore shreds out of him. And then she gave me a USB stick. She goes, listen to this. I was okay. He went away, listened to it. Came back sheepishly, said, yeah. She really pulled the wool over our eyes.
Yeah, meanwhile, you've been accused of A, B, C, D, E.
Exactly.
All it needs is to leak to anyone.
Yeah, my life's over. And that's because it's an accusation. Even if you get accused and you fight it and you clear your name, that stain remains. That stain remains. You're forever stained with that. And so she, you know, I thought, okay, so they decided, okay, we'll put the maximum extent that we can keep on the AVO. We'll put a new one on, and I think it was 2 years or something they were allowed, or 3 years or something. And then the other AVO, he said, well, you can contest it. I said, well, no, look, as long as you got your AVO on then, why would I even go anywhere near her? I don't want her anywhere. It's a double protection for me. It's like, you know, it's like she's got 2 AVOs, you know. I'm not going to fight it. But it irked me that I was accused of these things. It really did. I mean, how does she accuse me, the father of the children, and yet the children are living with me, and yet doesn't she know that her children have to put up with the innuendo? And by that stage, she'd already vandalised my property.
Was in the house?
My vehicle.
Oh. It happened more than once, didn't it?
Yeah.
Was that the first time?
That was the first time, but I had no proof. And I couldn't prove it. I thought, oh, okay, it could be mere coincidence, but I knew.
How far after the first incident is this? 2
months, maybe a month.
A month?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, the children are with me, and she can't get them.
Okay.
By that stage, so but I couldn't prove it. No proof. When I went and complained to the police, they basically laughed at me and said, well, unless you catch her red-handed or you got footage of her, nothing we can do about it. Fair enough. So, and it happened the second time. I thought, oh, that's it. I went and got CC surveillance cameras, everything throughout the house. And when it happened the third time, bingo. And anyway, that's later on.
I love the miniseries, man. What an odyssey. All right, continue. Sorry.
That's all right, man. And then, anyway, we go back to the court case, and, okay, the police prosecutor sheepishly says, yes, you're right. Okay, they agreed to it. My barrister agreed to all the stuff because this was... Yeah, I mean, you might think it's just an AVO, like a big deal, it's an AVO, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but it also reflects on the federal case because that's on record. It's a matter of public record. You have been accused of this. So when I go to the federal magistrates court, like, it would look better on my case if she didn't put one on me. It looked really bad that the police threw her out of the house and they put an AVO on her. But to even things out, she put one on me.
Even though there was no proof.
There was no proof.
Yeah.
So I had no choice and had to fight it, sort of thing. I had to get the barrister, sorry. So I had to get the barrister in, and okay, all right, well, we'll just present this to the magistrate. Magistrate, by that stage, started to know me quite well.
You're in there every 2 weeks.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
G'day, Judge.
G'day, Odysseus. How you going? Yeah, no worries. So, so we walk in, and there's a different prosecutor. There's a different prosecutor. I'm thinking, well, where's the prosecutor we were talking to? It's got all our paperwork and evidence. And anyway, he stands up. He goes, okay, on the matter of this and that, what does the prosecutor say? Oh, we're withdrawing the AVO The police is withdrawing the AVO. My barrister stood up and said, moment, please. And he goes, what is going on? What is going on? We've just agreed, that, and he's looking at, I have no idea, he goes, well, where's the other person I talked to? Oh, he's it's lunch break or something, I can't remember what it was, or end of shift or something like that. What, wasn't there a handover? Didn't someone, we've just had a discussion and the prosecutor has agreed to, I know nothing of this. So they went to adjourn again. Had to adjourn again until they found the prosecutor that we were talking to. And then the barrister just let rip again in the court. As a matter of principle, again, she said the same thing. What the hell's going on? Why is my client's voice being suppressed? You wouldn't listen to him on the first day that he came here, and now the files disappeared mid-court case? What the hell's going on? What's, And she let rip. I assure Mr. Odysseus that this isn't, the case, that, we assure this is the magistrate, we assure Odysseus that we treat everyone equally here, no matter what, blah, blah, blah,
You haven't been able to say a word yet.
Nothing.
You've been dragged out in your PJs and you haven't said a word. You've been accused of A, B, C, D, E.
Yeah.
Forget defending yourself. Like, there's literally...
Where did the paperwork go? It was only a matter of like half an hour, like from when we last agreed to what we were going to do to the point where we're in the actual chambers. It's disappeared.
And the guy's taken off, whoever it was that you were dealing with.
Mate.
Yeah, okay.
And at that stage, I was paranoid. I was really, really paranoid, because you can imagine, like you explained, your mind's just everywhere, you're paranoid, thinking, is this deliberate? Are these guys deliberately, trying to sink me?
Yeah.
Omitting this and they've already stuffed up my statement. My statement doesn't appear anywhere. Now the case notes are gone that, reflect the fact that, the AVO is going to get extended. She's not coming back in the house. All sorts of things I was accused of. And then many more other little not trivial, but there's many little, matters of this and that and this and that. But that's the khodra, let's say, they're
the meat of it.
The meat of it, yeah. I'll never forget it.